now you should see the start screen of the FRILO Control Center. This is the start dialog that every user sees after clicking on the icon FRILO software on their desktop. And in this first dialog, you are able to configure your general settings of your FRILO interface. You can go to the configuration in the upper right corner and select, for example, the interface language, the output language, and language of administration separately. The interface language can be selected at the moment as German, English, Polish, or Italian. And the same refers to output language. Language of administration is available in Polish, English, and German. We will extend these languages with the time, and we are very interested to reach the international customers with our software. This is why we are also integrating new norms for the new regions, and this is the continuous process, which is for sure will bring some new norms and new languages in future. So here you can select in which language you would like to make your calculations in the FRILO programs. Output language means in which language you would like to have your output document, and language of administration is the administration of this configuration area. Another interesting features here is you can, for example, configure the statics to go connection, look at the patches, display the patch info, or install the patches. So some service-oriented configuration settings or menu points. Then you have the licenses ribbon. Here you can upload the license. If you, for example, purchase a license, you can upload it here, go to your license manager, or maybe update license and so on. In the installations, you can, for example, switch to another installation. If you bought a certain version of FRILO and you don't have a software service contract, it means that after you have installed FRILO on a new computer, you need to downgrade your actual installation to the version, the one that you have bought. So this is the area where you can manage that. In the databases part, you can configure a general repository for your FRILO projects and give access to different structural engineers to the same project so that they work on the same project and all of the results of their works are in one place. Okay, these are the most maybe interesting settings. And now to go to the user interface, you just have to click on the FCC, Start Control Center. Okay. If you start the FRILO Control Center, you are forwarded to the first screen with which you stopped working the last time you had it open. So I had the entire list of the programs displayed. This is why I see now all of the FRILO programs, like this first category activated, where all of the programs are displayed in a long list. You can see how many of them are there. So it is obvious why we have grouped them into the categories on the left side. So we can reduce or limit the display of the programs only to reinforced concrete programs. You see here we have this reinforced concrete column, punch and shear analysis. We have also half joints, crack width verification, flush beams, balance tanks, continuous beam, file protection, and so on and so on. So these are the programs that are assigned to the category reinforced concrete. Then we have a framework programs category. Steel construction, also a lot of different programs, maybe some interesting ones, crane, runway girder, or we have some, where was it, antenna mast design, and of course the steel columns and steel beams. There is like a very big portfolio of the steel solutions. Timber and roof programs, they are also grouped into subcategories like timber construction and rooftop. Slabs and walls by finite elements, soil mechanics with some soil mechanics and foundation programs. You see here's pad foundation, isolated foundation, earth pressure calculation. We have also cantilevered retaining wall, which is a pretty popular program, tunnel frame, soil settlement. Maybe it's also worth mentioning that recently we have acquired the company DC Software, which is providing very, let's say, high-end and deep into detail foundation analysis and soil mechanics solutions. So if you are interested explicitly in this area, please get back to us after the webinar. We also have some other solutions in our portfolio since a couple of months, in fact. Masonry programs, like masonry design generally, masonry column, wall, basement masonry wall, load programs, and we have also toolboxes, which are in fact some simple calculation sheets that are replacing your manual calculations or calculations made with Excel files, depending on which material it is related to. It's also grouped in those subcategories to help you navigate in this portfolio better. So maybe let's open now an example program and have a look how you can manage it, how can you work with this. Reinforced concrete column, B5+. This is one of the most best-selling programs of FRILO. So maybe let's have a look at this one. Okay. Now, if you click on the program, first you are routed to the wizard, where you can already preset your system, enter the most important parameters of your system. Let's say in case of column, it is type of support, which is important, pin-ended, maybe cantilever column. Let's select this one. Then number of column sections, I will leave it by 1. Section length, 7 meters, a little bit big. Let's maybe reduce to 3 meters. Reinforcement arrangement, I will leave like this, corner concentrated. You can also have circumferentially distributed or edge distributed. Concrete quality can be selected, cross-section type, width, height, of course, your cross-section measurements. And then you can enter some eccentricity, if any, and some permanent service loads and other loads. Maybe let's enter a couple of loads just to be able to calculate a simple column system. 100 there, 100 there, and press on OK. So after I pressed on OK, it's somehow coming to my other screen, so I have to move it each time to this main screen. But now you see it, right? So after you have entered your main system parameters of your column, building component, in this case it is column, you are now in the first, like the most important screen of the calculation of your system. You can either do it in the interactive graphics, which is covering the biggest part of the screen, but you can see it is interactive. It's like you can change here again your loads, made it 150, for example. You can also change the length of your column. With a right click, you have access to the context menu settings, where you can create some supports, head loads, and so on and so on. So basically, you don't need some other area to be able to edit your system prior to calculation. But as we started in the past at FRILO with this T-structure and entry of different parameters like category by category, we have kept it also in this new interface, and there is an option or an alternative to do it on the left side via entering first the basic parameters, like for instance a norm. As you can see, we support in this program a German norm, European, Austrian national annex, then we have Eurocode, pure Eurocode, Polish national annex, Italian national annex, and British national annex in case of this specific program. So after you have entered your basic parameters, you go to system, then define your supports, foundation, if any, attached columns, enter your loads, and so on. But you can also do it in this area, or you can use these tables in the bottom of the screen, where you can enter your column sections or supports or attached columns, or again, the load table is integrated here, or user defined action. So all of the, let's say, operation of the program is very flexible and is very, let's say, intuitive. You can use any of the areas to define your system. Okay, concerning the display, you can also use the 3D view. You can like show or hide some elements here, like, yes, like just to operate this area here, the visibility to show what you need and to hide that what you don't need exactly. And yes, in this program, we have integrated the fire design as well and the reinforcement design. So maybe let's go to the fire design design here exactly and select the finite elements method. By the way, as you see here, we have some explanation or some comments to the settings that you are selecting in the upper area. So if you want to understand in which way this finite element method will be applied to the fire design, then you can just read this one. Defines the method by which the selected fire resistance period is to be detected, and if FEM means the proof of the bearing capacity in case of fire is based on a non-linear static member calculation according to second order theory and non-linear temperature dependent material behavior, whereby the temperature distribution within the cross section is determined by thermal finite elements method analysis as a function of the duration of the fire. It's like very helpful in certain cases to understand what is behind, because of course everything is automated and the program is doing most of the work for the structural engineer and delivers the results, but some of them have to want to understand what exactly is done at each step or with each setting that is selected. Okay, I have selected the fire design with the check method finite elements method, and now maybe let's just calculate our column system. I will be routed first to the reinforcement dialog. I can change here the parameters or just leave it as they are. I can look at the plan and the 3D view if I need it, but let's just keep it. It's okay. Required the reference to the existing reinforcement is okay. So I click on OK. Then I'm routed to the fire design dialog. Here again, I can change the parameters of my fire design. For example, the duration of the fire exposure up to 240 minutes, or I could just leave it as it is and calculate. Okay, and then click on OK. And now the limit states will be calculated and the results will be displayed. It takes a little bit of time because we have a lot of iteration, the second order theory. Okay, so as you can see, the results are displayed in the lower right corner, bottom right corner. We see here some SLS like limit states, ULS. We have here the reinforcement information, yeah, with regard to ULS and under fire extension. So it is like it needs adjustment, the system, but we will not do it today in the webinar. But you are welcome, of course, to test it on your own. And Alexander will show you later how you can download your own B5 Plus column program and any other FRILO program and test it individually. The results part is also here, where you can display different types of the results, what is important and relevant for you. You can click on the deformations, maybe onto the reinforcement, or select the first order without EA, or like depending on what you would like to display it. Or you can select the load cases, all load cases, or maybe only the dead load, or maybe a permanent load. So depending on what you select, it will be displayed here in your results window. Another important thing is the document, and maybe it's worth mentioning that in the output area here, you can select the output scope. You can leave it as standard, or you can select a brief or detailed, or you can define your own scope. And in this way, while rendering, while issuing your output document, it will be considered which parameters of your system, which types of the results, which components, in fact, of the results are important for you for your output document. So let's switch to the document. It is a standard one in this case. And then we will see how our result output will be delivered. Yeah, you see it is in a PDF. You can save it, you can print it if you want. And in this way, it is available with each program. It is delivered with each FRILO program. It's a standard part of the program. But if you would like to integrate different output documents out of different items that you have calculated into one output, overall output document, then you need another solution, which is called FRILO Document Designer. Okay, so let's close a column right now. I will exit without saving and have a look at another area in the FRILO user interface, which is called project management area where you can have also access to the document designer that I have just mentioned. So the project management area looks like this. In the left corner, you have a section with different folders. You can create any number of folders and subfolders. You can make this like tree structure here, set up according to your needs. And then in each folder, you can create any number of projects. So you see in the folder International, I have different projects, for example, framework, foundation related, demo project, or document designer project. And with regard to each project, in the lower part of the screen, you see the item list, which is included into this project. So you have, if you have a building to design, you have different components related to this building. So you save them as different items within one project, which is named Building X, for example. If you would like to have a look at the document related to all of the results out of all items which refer to your project, you have to just double click onto your project name, and then you will be routed to the document designer. But prior to doing it, I will show you first this symbol here. It means that this item is included to the overall output document, because you can decide if you would like to include all of your items that you have calculated into your output document, or you would like to select only certain items that are relevant for your output report. So these are these marked with a book icon are added, and the others are not added yet. So let's go to the document designer now. We'll click on the project name, Demo Document Designer, and it's again coming to my left screen. I have to pull it over here. Okay, now you should see it. And yeah, the document designer is the overall document which is created with regard to the entire project. And on the left side, you see all of the items that are assigned to this output document out of this project. And within each item, you have also some subsections. So if you have the results of the single span steel beam, the results coming from this item calculation, they are displayed here in some subcategories, and you can individually decide if you would like to include all of these individual sections out of the result release related to the single span steel beam into your output document, or you would like to skip some. For example, you don't need the graphics in 2D, you just uncheck it and it will not be considered anymore. We have also the automated table of contents. Now it is switched off somehow. I don't know why, but if I switch it on again, you see the table of contents is created automatically with regard to the entire let's say project. Yes, exactly. And if I remove certain items or maybe sections of the items, they will not be included. They will then be removed from the table of contents, and the page numbers will be adjusted accordingly. Let's see also what we can add to our report. Of course, we can make a title page, pre-remarks, final page. We can use our own design with our company logo. We can also make any number of categories here, like chapters, and group the items related to the project into the chapters where they belong. And in this here area of pasting or including some extra elements into our report, we can either create a new FRILO item out of this place, or maybe a toolbox, or maybe add the existing item. This is exactly what I showed you before. It's again in the wrong screen, but I will move it here. These are 3 items that are not included into our document designer report yet, but we can select them and say, okay, I would like to include the reinforced concrete column, and press OK, and then it is included exactly there where I was placed with my mouse before I selected this to be included. So I just move it to another chapter where I think it belongs better, chapter 1, not before the winds and snow loads. And as you can see, it has been inserted exactly there where I want it to be inserted. I can again dynamically or flexibly decide what out of my reinforced concrete column result document belongs to this report and what does not belong to this report via switching off or switching on certain areas or sub areas. And the table of contents is adjusted. Of course, this insertion of the column has been considered now. You can also insert into your document some files, existing files, in different file formats, or you can create new files in Microsoft Word, Excel, also these formats that are supported here under this menu ribbon, and in this, or the item list, exactly, and then this external files can also be moved at any position in your document. Another important thing is that you can enter a note everywhere you want. For example, in the results area after serviceability, I would like to write something. So I press insert note, select insert note, new remark, and at this point, exactly after serviceability, I can, it's again on the wrong screen, sorry for that, I can type whatever I want. I can even here insert some images, some from the files, paste something, and after I save and exit, it will be inserted exactly after this serviceability here area. So you see, if I go here, serviceability, and I scroll to, now it's adjusting, I have to scroll to serviceability. And you see here, after serviceability, there is the entry of my note visible. Yeah, if it were a picture, the picture would be inserted, then the page would be probably switched to the next page, and again, the table of contents would be adjusted. So it is a pretty complex, but on the other side, very intuitive solution for management of your output documents out of structural engineering and design programs.